Hey, what's going on? So I didn't make a video yesterday. I'm not gonna lie to you, I really didn't feel like making one. However, I'm going to do two today. So today is going to be my fears. The topic is going to be my fears. Yes, my fears. What do I fear? What does Alize fear? Before I get into this, I want to say that I am undergoing a really deep understanding of myself and a deep healing within myself. And the reason I wanted to talk about this was because I feel like when you actually are able to confess what your fears are, that's when you can actually accept those fears and you can turn them into, instead of fearing it, you can actually say, okay, this is how I feel. You know, let me accept that this is a fear that I have. But now I can overcome it. And what are the steps that I can do? So this was a journal challenge, and this was in Emotional Advantage. Okay. Yes, I wrote on it. It's my book. So anyway, basically, I've realized in the journal challenge, I want to say that you are going to basically put like an X to where what you fear, and later on you ask yourself, why do you have these fears? So I want to talk about my fears. My fear is the fear of failure. That's number one. My second fear is the fear of uncertainty and trying something new. My third fear is fear of not being needed. My fourth is fear of standing out and going full out. And the fear of playing it safe and small. The fear of being alone. The fear of not having any time. And the fear of being bored. The fear of being hurt in a relationship. The fear of never taking a risk on love. The fear of being made fun of. And the fear of boundaries. Now each fear, the reason I fear failure is because in my life I have done things, and certain things that I've done, meaning I've tried to attempt to do something and I failed. For example, same thing when I took my permit test. I had fear of failing, and I did fail my second try. I didn't pass until my third try. And I feared it because I feared, like in the back of my mind subconsciously, what if I don't pass this? What if I actually have to come back and take this test again? Or the same thing, what if my podcast is not successful? That's what I had a fear of. Starting something new, okay? Going on to starting something new. But before I even go into that, I want to say that I've always feared failure because, and it's always held me back, okay? It's always held me back because I never really tried to push myself as hard as I knew that I could, to push myself farther. Yes, I went back to school. I did push myself then. When I got my high school diploma, I pushed myself to get my certification as a nursing assistant. And even that alone was like, I have to take a test. I have to do this. I was nervous, it was a lot going on. And then also, in addition to that, even pushing myself so I could get accepted into college. There's been a lot of things, and even still, sometimes still to this day, I still have that fear of failure that's in the back of my mind. So let's not think and assume that Alize is this perfect person who just is, so confident. And so I have fears, people, okay? Also, I do have a fear of trying something new, because before I even started my podcast, I was scared to talk about anything. I was scared to say anything. And actually, I've noticed that there's people in the manifesting group of the Kim Velez Living a Limitless Life. We have a manifesting group, and people actually love my podcast. A lot of people are like, oh my God, I like this. Like, you should really listen to her. I've always feared even trying this, even with YouTube, anything that's new to me, I fear it because I feel that I'm going to fear I'm going to fail. Then there is the fear of not being needed. I've always been that kind of person, okay, where I've done so much for people. I've put in so much effort for others. I've put people on the pedestal. I have always gone far to where I want to do so much for this individual, but this person, I'm going yards, but this person is only giving me inches, let alone even centimeters. It's not enough. And my fear have always been, what if I'm not needed? Because I always want to do so much for other people. But then I forget that I haven't done nothing for Alize. My next fear is playing it small and safe. Majority of my life, I played it small and safe. I never really wanted to extend myself. I feel like doing this, I feel like my podcast, writing my book, things like this is extending myself. And even there are other talents that I do have as well. And I want to say that, I've played it small majority of my life because I never really tried to reach that point. And I feel like that is a fear of mine. I don't want to keep playing it small and safe. I want to do something daring. I want to do something bold. And I feel like, there's so much more to do. And, even like I said, one big, honestly, this was huge. One big step, I feel like just jumping into this, like just jumping into the puddle. I don't know if you guys ever heard, I forgot, but Les Brown had mentioned this. You don't want to, it was from a quote from a guy. You don't want to go where the path is, but you want to go where there is no path. Okay. So I feel like one big thing that I did was joining the live Zoom with Les Brown and a bunch of other, probably millions of other people, okay, who Les Brown has also inspired and who have really powerful stories to tell. And that was a big jump because I've never joined it. That was my first time on there. And randomly, you're going to be chosen to tell your story. So it's like I haven't, been chosen yet. But I will say that I am nervous, but I don't want to play it small. Okay? The fear of being alone. I've never been comfortable with myself. I've never been comfortable being alone. I do have brothers and sisters, okay? However, my brothers and sisters, we never grew up with one another. I was actually a child, a lonely child, I want to say. The only child, okay? We have different fathers, but we have the same mother. So the fear of being alone, because I've always been alone, but really being alone to where I don't have friends or I don't have people like that are there when I need someone. But however, I have to also understand that certain things that we do go through, we sometimes do go through those things alone. And it's what makes us stronger, honestly, because we went through the situation, but it made us stronger. You get what I'm saying? And I feel like if I was able to see that, well, now I can come to this point where I can say, like, I'm seeing that. And not even just being alone, just only going through certain situations, but also going out to dinner. I've never took myself out to dinner. I want to take the chance to take Alize out to eat. I want to take Alize on a date. I want to really feel comfortable being by myself, because if you're not comfortable being by yourself, then 9 times out of 10, you aren't comfortable with who you are. And you have to, it's like they say, you have to really have that self-love. And I feel like self-love is the most important thing. So that is another one of my fears. And how I can overcome that is by getting more comfortable with myself. And like I said, I'm going through a deep understanding of me. And I feel like that's something to really just throw out there. Okay. So fear of being bored. This is what it says in the book. I'm just letting y'all know. So fear of being bored, okay? It's fear of being bored. And the fear of not having any time. I've always had people keep telling me, you're young, you're only 24 years old. I'm like, 24 is young? Really? Is it really young, baby? Is it really young? And I get told that a lot, and even I've had, certain, like, I know my brother, he has his own place and he's working and stuff. I don't have that yet established yet. And slowly I'm making my rounds, like I just got my permit. Big accomplishment. I feel like I'm actually very close to getting the things that I need, and I'll be whipping, pulling up and having everything that I need. But sometimes I do feel like I'm running out of time. I do feel like I'm running out of time. I feel like every day I'm waking up and I don't want it to be where, what if one day I don't wake up? What if one day I'm just dead? I ran out of time. The fear of being hurt in a relationship. I've been hurt so many times in relationships, and I've hurt people. And I believe 2 or at least 3 of my biggest relationships hurt me. And there was only one that really damaged me psychologically. And it made me feel like I wasn't good enough. And it made me have a different outlook on men. And it made me change my view on men. And I've never really actually taken the chance to give another man a chance. I never really taken a chance to really date another man. Like I've tried, I've talked to other men in the past, but honestly, I will say that I've always liked women. Yes, that is true. However, at the same time, I'm not afraid to say that at one point in my life, I had a very bad experience and it damaged me. And I want to say this because I want to let anyone else know that it's okay to admit that maybe this is the reason I am the way I am because of what has happened with me in my past. However, things can change, and it's okay for things to change. It's nothing wrong with change. It's nothing wrong with growth. And no, I'm not saying that, okay, Alize, I'm not going to lie. I do feel comfortable dressing comfortably like a guy. And, I'm first to admit that even when I was young, I was like, I want to be a boy. I don't want to be a girl. And you're probably wondering, well, why don't you get a sex change? No, baby, I'm happy how I am. I ain't doing all that. But yes, I was hurt very badly, and it was very toxic, and it drug me through the mud. And it took me 4 years to finally get over it and to tell him that I forgive you, but you and I will never, ever get back together. And a risk of never taking a risk on love. I've always been that kind of person who's always wanted to rush things rather than taking the time to get to know the person, being friends with them. And I feel like that's one big mistake that I make. And for me, I get so scared because it's not really me taking the risk, but a person taking a risk on me. Feeling wanted and feeling like you are wanted and you are desired. Because I've always been the person to desire the next person or to want the next person instead of it actually being reversed. Alize wants to sit back. And sometimes I don't want to take a chance on love because I fear that same situation that did happen to me. I do fear, like, can it happen again? Will it happen again? Sometimes subconsciously I'm asking myself those questions. However, I do feel that, with me actually changing that is by first understanding that I am good enough. I am an amazing woman. I am a loving woman, and I have a lot to bring to the table, sweetie. And loving me first is the most important thing before even giving my love to another individual. Fear of being made fun of. I used to be made fun of when I was younger. My pants were pulled down. Yes, they were. They were pulled down. And when I was younger, that was when I was in middle school, okay? You can actually go and listen to that in my podcast, Legacy Podcast. I talk about that. I was actually made fun of, and a lot of people made fun of me. They popped me with rubber bands, and, I remember I had marks on my skin. People would always make fun of me because I remember there was a lady that gave me $1, and this girl wanted to trade me, do a transaction of $1 in marbles. And I used to love marbles when I was a kid. I loved books. I loved reading. You could say Alize was kind of a bit of a nerd. Okay. And very intelligent, bright young child. but I love marbles. Like, they just fascinated me. It honestly, I'm gonna go back into that, like little small things in my childhood that I remember, like marble collections. I'm gonna collect marbles. I swear and kid you not, I'm going to collect marbles and crystals. Okay, just letting y'all know. So yes. Anyway, so I remember I gave her the dollar. And I was sad because I wanted my dollar, because I wanted to get me, something, I wanted, because my granny would come and pick me up, and sometimes we would go to the store and she let me get chips. My grandmother didn't let me eat a lot of chips and sweets, but sometimes she would allow me to do that, and she would allow me to get that. So she was like, you know what, whatever, I'll just let you do it because you don't do it all the time. So, I was like, no, I want my dollar back. And then I remember I was like, my granny gave me that dollar, and I was very, everyone started making fun of me and messing with me. And there was a guy that used to always make fun of me. So they used to talk about me a lot in middle school. And it made me feel very low. It caused a lot of low self-esteem. My confidence was very low. I hated myself. And that's where the suicidal thoughts started to come in. And then, last but not least, fear of boundaries. I have never in my mother life had boundaries. I've always let people cross me without actually knowing what Alize did want and what Alize did not want. Meaning that I didn't have a respect for myself. And I'm going to be real with you. I never did. Because if I did, I wouldn't have allowed people to cross me. And I wouldn't have allowed people to push me the way that they did. Now, I know what you're saying. Why are you telling us this? I know what you're asking. I'm telling you this because I want you to know that as me being able to be a woman at the age of 24, still young, still kicking, I'm not afraid to admit that I do have fears. And these are my fears. They are. But these are things that I have to overcome. These are things that I'm admitting right now and taking acknowledgement and being aware that this is something that I do fear. I don't want to fear being alone. I want to be able to be comfortable with myself. That way I could feel whole and have a relationship with a person who also is whole. You know what I'm saying? In addition to having boundaries, knowing myself and respecting myself and knowing that, no, I won't tolerate this from this individual. Because I love myself and I respect myself enough. And not having the fear to fail. Because that's what happens when we are becoming successful. There's going to be times where we fail. There's going to be times where we get knocked down. There's going to be times where things happen. But it's okay. It's okay. And the fear of not being needed. I have to realize that I need me. I need Alize. I need this body. Okay? My health. I need me. And for so long, I've always been in this box to where I've never in my life have ever thought that I was important. But you know what? Alize is important. She is important. And she's a priority. My first priority. Let me tell you guys something. The first step to growth and the first step to change is first acknowledging what is needed to be changed, acknowledging those fears, acknowledging the doubts, acknowledging the negative thoughts, the negative beliefs, acknowledging and being aware of this is the problem. Okay, now that I know, now I can fix that. And I feel like the first step is you first admitting it to yourself and me being able to admit this to you. Okay? And that felt pretty damn good. That felt pretty damn good. Okay, shit. Hey, ooh, demonetization. That felt pretty darn good, baby. It sure did. It sure did. But honestly, I do want to share this with you too, because I was talking to a friend of mine and she is the most sweetest thing ever. And she said, Alize, you are amazing. Alize, you are funny. You are intelligent. We have had many deep, deep conversations. And even her herself, I even told her, girl, don't allow the naysayers to say anything. Don't allow the 3D to tell you anything. What you want is already yours. And it's so crazy because when she told me that, she said, I needed to work on myself. I needed to lift the confidence within me. I needed to work on me. And at that time, I was taking it as, oh, she don't want to talk to me. Assuming. My presumptuous ass ways. Please, go and watch that. Go and watch that. Y'all gonna like it. Trust me. Go watch. So anyway, I was super negative, honey. And it's crazy because what I'm not realizing is everyone needs time to themselves. It's not always about me. It's not about you, Alize. Sometimes people need time to themselves. Everybody needs a point in time where you need peace, at least for 5 to 10 minutes. Zig Ziglar did say, take at least 5 to 10 minutes out of your day just to be quiet. Just to be quiet. Sometimes people need that time because they're going through situations. And when she told me that, I said, I had to apologize to her because I didn't even know what the hell was going on. But when she told me, she said, I had to take off my shirt, girl, and say, you know what? I'm good. I look good. I'm sexy. I'm amazing. And I'm a beautiful ass woman. And that's exactly what I did to myself last night. I took off my shirt and I stared at myself in the mirror. And I spoke to myself out loud in inner thought conversations. And I said, you know what? I'm ready to love you. And I'm ready. I don't give a damn how long it takes. I don't give a damn what I have to go through. I'm ready to love you. Because I'm not going to continue to go on in my life like this. I'm not. I may be young, but I have a lot of wisdom. I may be young, but I know a lot. A lot more than some certain people don't know. And you might know more than I know. Who knows? I may be young, but it's never too late to change. It's never too late to correct an error. It's never too late to say, you know what? I don't see myself like that anymore. I see myself this way. I see myself as this amazing, authentic, beautiful, black goddess, queen. And I'm not talking about just the physical appearance. I'm talking about internally, not externally, internally. Who is she? This has been the Daily Dose of Alize. I hope you enjoyed. Peace.